I was getting darker.
Okay. When the sky was getting darker, and Maddie, and Mom, and Nan, and Felix, and Jono all got into the truck. All got into the van.
To drive to Hamilton. And we saw a snow pile.
And
a tree branch.
And
saw a hotel.
And we saw a hotel.
And fitness. Center. And we saw a homeschool auditorium.
And we saw a gymnasium. And we saw a gymnasium.
And then we as we arrived,
and John was saying, here we are. And John grabs our jackets.
And John sits on her lawn.
And John sits on the lawn.
With all of the rest of your moms. Including
moms.
All of the other babies.
All of the other infants. All of the other children. All of the kids. Dads. Grandmas. Grandpas.
Family.
And kids.
Boys.
Girls.
Senior
citizens. African Americans.
Whole nations.
And all the whole nations from all around the world.
All the food deliverers from all around the world.
And
all of the dogs.
And all of the dogs.
And all of the cats.
And all of the cats.
All of the firefighters.
All of the grandparents.
All of the granddaughters.
All of the daughters.
All of the old kids. All of the sons.
All of the sons.
All of the African American babies.
All of the African American babies.
And infants.
All
of the babies and infants.
All of the babies and all of the infants from all around the world.
All of the newborns.
All of the newborns.
All of the childhood.
All of the childhood.
All of the neighborhood.
All of the neighborhood.
All of the grandsons.
All of the grandsons.
All of the grandboys.
All of the grandboys.
All of the grandgirls.
All of the grandgirls.
All of the players.
All of the players.
All of the classmates.
All of the classmates.
All of the janitors.
All of the janitors.
All of the BK and Walmart.
All of the BK and Walmart.
All of the karate.
All of the karates.
All of the gentlemen.
All of the gentlemen.
All of the ladies.
All of the ladies.
We are ready to gather around.
We're all ready to gather around the lawn in Hamilton.
And then as the mayor said. Welcome all over people.
Welcome all over people and nations from all around the world.
And animals.
To this year's spectacular
big show.
To this big show.
Are you ready?
Are you ready, crowd?
All of the musics. from all around the world.
All the music from all around the world.
All of the pops from all around the world.
Pops from all around the world.
All of the rock stars.
All of the rock stars.
From all around the world.
From all around the world.
Nations.
And nations.
All of the friendships and friends.
And all of the friendships and friends.
All of the grand friends.
All of the grand friends.
Yes, we are gonna say.
Are gonna say, yes, we are! Bring it on! Let the show begin! Choo! 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 Choo!
But the first,
the
pop of the sparkling in the sky.
But the first pop of the sparkling in the sky.
But she scares the babies.
But it scares the babies.
And babies from all around the world, and African babies, started to cry and higher.
And all the babies from all around the world, and all the African babies started to cry. Wee! Wee!
And the children got scared.
And the
children
got
from
scared.
all around the world.
And all the children from all around the world got scared and said, Mom, I'm scared. And the mom and the British mom said, oh, don't be scared, little one. It's just a firework show. Go on, look up, look at all the pretty colors. And the kids and the babies look up and the kids said, wow, yeah. And the baby said, goo goo gaga.
And all of the sports players from all around the world.
And all the sports players from all around the world were cheering. Yay! Choo! Boom! Choo!
And then as we saw a neon. Neon and spaceship.
And
all of us said,
whoa, look at that! It's a giant spaceship!
And
wow!
Everyone goes wild.
And everyone went wild! Woo!
And they threw their canes up in the air.
And the senior citizens threw their canes up in the air. And they threw their walkers up in the air. And they threw their wheelchairs up in the air. Woo! And they started to boogie down to the funky sound. Yay!
All the hairdressers and paramedics and
went wild and started to do flips.
The mailmans.
And all the mailmans went wild.
From all around the world.
Went wild. And they threw all the mail up in the air. Woo!
They threw their packages in the air.
And they threw their packages up in the air. Woo!
And then we saw a sparkling planet.
And all of us tells you, whoa, look at that. What is it?
It scares the Felix.
But it scared the Felix. And Felix started to throw up. Blah, blah, blah. And Mom was petting the Felix.
When Felix goes to do pee.
Then Felix goes to do pee.
After the finale show is over.
After the finale show is over. And the mayor tells you.
Check 1, 2, 3.
Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3. Are you ready, crowd? Whole nations and crowds.
And all around the world and animals.
From all around the world and all animals from all around the world. For the biggest, most ginormous, gigantic, grandest of the grandest finale ever. And the crowd says, yes, we are. Yes, we are. Let the show begin. Boom.
Boom. The giant, very, 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 very giant finale.
But the giant, very, very, very giant finale starts to begin.
So you can everyone feels in your chest.
And everyone can feel the boom of the fireworks in their chest.
But the whole everyone is totally loses it.
And the whole crowd totally
loses
loses it. And the whole crowd totally loses
And Maddie
it.
totally
And
loses
Maddie totally loses it. She loses all control. And she starts to jump up and down.
And the whole crowd
scream and
starts
shout.
to completely wild.
And the whole crowd starts to go completely wild. Woo!
And the kids from all around the world.
And the kids from all around the world all lose it. They start doing flips.
And doing their national.
And doing their national dances. Woo! And then the mayor says.
And the cops went wild.
And the crowd.
Cops went wild.
And the cops went wild. And they threw their guns up in the air. Woo!
And the paramedics totally loses it.
And the paramedics totally loses it. They throw their gloves up in the air.
And
Woo!
they threw their first aid kit in the
And
air.
they threw their first aid kit in the air. And the crowd says, yay! Free band-aids for everyone. Woo!
And the rock star totally loses it.
And the rockstar totally loses it. He throws his guitar up in the air. Woo!
And K-pop totally loses it.
And the K-pops totally lose it and start breaking down and dance. Woo!
And the swimming teacher went wild.
And the swimming teacher went wild and threw his swimming cap up in the air. Woo!
And the prank teacher totally loses it.
And the prank teacher totally loses it.
And the Home Depot totally loses it.
And the Home Depot totally loses it. They throw their aprons up in the air. Woo!
And the hairdresser totally loses it.
And the hairdresser totally loses it. And she throws her scissors up in the air. And she starts to boogie down. Woo!
And the hair cutter totally loses it.
And the hair cutter totally loses it. And he throws his clippers up in the air.
And they start. And the scissors up in the air.
And the scissors up in the air.
The hair cutter throws their apron on.
And the hair cutter throws their apron up in the air. Woo!
And the lawn grass cutter totally loses it.
And the lawn cutter guy totally loses it and throws his lawnmower up in the air. Woo!
And the grandsons totally loses it.
And the grandson totally loses it and starts to boogie down. Woo! And he throws his grandpa's cane up in the air. Woo!
And the grandkids totally loses it.
And the grandkids totally loses it. And they start to jump up and down. Yeah!
And the kids go wild.
And the kids go wild.
And they jumping around all over the place and say, yeah!
And they're jumping around all over the place saying, yay!
And the brown kids totally loses it.
And the brown kids totally loses it. And they start running all around. Yay!
That was so much fun.
That was so much fun.
And the music teacher totally loses it.
And the music teacher totally loses it. And she throws the music pages up in the air. Woo!
And the choir teacher totally loses it.
And the choir teacher totally loses it. And he throws his stick up in the air. Woo!
And the piano teacher went wild.
And the piano teacher went wild and started to do flips and jumping up and down. Woo! And he threw his piano up in the air. Woo!
And the food deliverers from all around the world.
And the food deliveries from all around the world went wild. And they threw all the food up in the air. And the crowd said, yay, free food! Yum!
And the players totally loses it.
And the players totally loses it. And they throw their bats and their gloves and their balls up in the air.
And the mayor totally loses it.
And the mayor totally loses it. And he says,
Wow!
wow, what a show. Are you ready
To catch it.
to catch this
And the
mayor?
pop rock girls totally loses it.
And the pop rock girls totally lose it. They all start running to the stage to catch the mayor.
And the whole crowds and kids and nations from all around the world.
And the whole crowd
and
of kids
players.
and nations from all around the world.
And the whole stadium crowd starts to run.
And the whole stadium and crowd starts to run towards the stage to catch the mayor.
And the whole crowd starts to jump.
And the whole crowd starts
And the
to
kids
jump.
starts to jump.
And the kids start to jump.
And the grandparents starts to run.
And the grandparents start to run. And the mayor flips himself off the stage. And the mayor catches him. And the mayor goes wild. And he totally loses it. Yeah!
And the mayor starts to dance.
And the mayor starts to
And the
dance.
karate totally loses it.
And the crowd totally loses it.
Karate.
And the karate totally loses it. And they start to dance with the mayor. Woo!
And the whole crowd starts to dance with the salsa dancing.
And the whole crowd starts to dance with the salsa dancing.
And the Spaniards and Germans starts getting wild and dancing.
And the Spaniards and the Germans start getting wild and they start dancing. Woo!
And the kids starts to dance.
And the kids start to dance.
And jumping around all over the place. And the bell bottoms. And the swimming teacher caught the mayor.
And the swimming teacher caught the mayor. And he brings him back to the stage. And the mayor is overjoyed and wild. Woo! Thank you for catching me. Yay! What a show!
And the grandsons and the whole nations and kids from all around the world.
And the grandsons and all the nations and kids from all around the world.
And she starts to dance with those flips.
And starts to dance with those flips.
And doing their national dancing with those mayors.
And doing their national dancing with those mayors.
And the Chinese caught the mayor.
And the Chinese caught the mayor. And they start doing their national dancing with the mayor. Woo! And the mayor starts losing it. Woo!
And she starts to dancing with those toxic.
And they start to dancing with the toxic. Woo!
And the whole crowd starts to break dancing.
And the whole crowd starts to break dancing. And
With
they're doing
those
windmills
music.
on the floor.
And booms feel in your chest and
And
start
the
to dance.
feels feel in their chest and they start to dance. Yay! Woo-hoo-hoo!
And then the boom slog of the sparkling is stopped.
And then the booms of the sparkling stops.
And the whole crowd starts to wildly crazy cheer.
And the whole crowd starts to
Loudly.
crazy cheer loudly. Yeah!
And the mayor starts walking. And everyone
starts walking.
catch. And everyone
And then
holds
everyone
up and bring him back to the stage.
holds up the mayor and they bring him back to the stage and he flips back on the stage. Whoa! That was great! Did you have fun, everyone?
Yes, we did!
Yes, we did! Woo! Let me hear you shout. Yay! Yay! What a show! Then John says,
And the BK totally loses it.
and the BK totally loses it. And they start to throw burgers up in the air. Woo! And the crowd says, yay! Free burgers!
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you all for coming and for catching me. Woo!
And
Mayor!
sing. Mayor! 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 Mayor!
Woo!
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you all for coming.
And for catching me.
And for catching me. And for dancing with me.
Goodbye, everyone, for nations.
Goodbye, everyone, in all the nations. And the coconut.
And the homemaker starts to dance.
And the homemaker starts to dance.
And she stood there.
And they threw their brooms up in the air. Woo! And they threw their vacuums up in the air. Woo! And they threw their dusters up in the air. Woo!
And the whole crowd starts to wildly cheer and loudly.
And the whole crowd starts to wildly cheer loudly. Woo!
And then that's we all over.
And then, as it's all over,
And the John gets into the van.
and then John gets into the van.
And the Maddie tells you.
And the Maddie tells you, what's all this traffic? And your mom tells you, you want to know why?
Because all of the mothers, babies, children,
Mothers, babies,
infants, kids, boys, sisters, dads,
grandmas, grandpas, all the nations from all around the world, we're all trying to go home at the same time.
and the janitor catches the mayor and brings him back to his door.
And the janitor catches the mayor and brings him back to his door. And the mayor says, woo! Thank you!
Thanks for catching me.
Thanks for catching me.
And then everyone starts to drive.
And then everyone starts to drive.
And the dogs wants to go home.
And the dogs want to go home.